Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Milan Weekly Podcast channel. On this episode of the Milan Weekly Podcast tonight, we're going to discuss Milan's loss to Parma. VAR going against us again. A lot of referee, just ridiculousness going on in Serie A. And of course, I got Stevie P here to talk about it all. We're going to talk FUBU and Serie A's recap for this week. There's rumors of Allegri's future cropping up, of course, immediately after a loss. And we're going to preview the Cremonese rematch coming on Sunday early morning. It's me, Fabio, Stevie P. No Vinny T tonight. Sorry, couldn't make it on a Monday. We had snow on Long Island. It plowed us in, but we're back on a Tuesday night. And if you haven't already, please do yourself a favor, show some class, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're up to date when we're going live like today. Please leave a comment, hit the like button, follow us on our audio platforms, and if you want to support the channel, ladies and gentlemen, super chats are open tonight. Get your comment or question heard by super chatting, and of course, if you want to be a part of our Patreon family, find us on Patreon to support the channel. Stevie, are you ready, baby?
I'm ready like a Mike Tyson. Let's go.
Welcome to the Milan Weekly Podcast. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Milan Weekly Podcast. Let's bring us in. What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's me, Fabio, in for Vinny T tonight. That's Stevie P. He's not happy. There's nothing to be happy about. There's no smiling tonight. All right. We took the knockout Parma punch this weekend. All right. Right to the teeth. Poor Loftus-Cheek. He lost teeth and a jaw piece for this stupid game. Stevie, what's going on, man? Happy to see you. How are you?
Look, first of all, let's have a moment of silence for our people in Long Island who've got some snow. And because of this snow, in many, many years, the Canadians, just to be 100% honest with everyone, have never canceled a show due to snow. Me and Vinny have constantly gone on, even when it snowed. They get a little snow in Long Island, we have to cancel the show, and it's Tuesday Night Lights as a la Liban Youssef. That's number one. Number two, guys, what a shit-ass birthday I had. Absolutely shit. Okay? Team Canada in the Winter Olympics, Milan Cortina, guys, overtime, 3-on-3, 47 shots. Seems like Connor Hellebuck is the next coming of Patrick Roy in his glory days, and they take home the gold. So congratulations to the US of A.
In both men and women.
Men and women, yes. And then I was like, okay, that went bad. Let's wait for Milan Parma. Maybe it's going to get better, right? I was talking with Gianfranco. He's like, Daddy, it's your birthday. I think they're going to win for you. Right away, even my son is scarognat. Completely bad luck. We had the game of proprio cacata. Na cacatina we had.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. You know, it's something that, first of all, happy belated birthday. We have to mention that. So it must have been something about losing teeth, because we're going to play back to the hockey game. Jack Hughes, the New Jersey Devil, I'm a Devil fan. He lost some teeth, and our poor own Loftus-Cheek. And what did Terry call him?
Ruben lost those teeth.
Lost those teeth. Right. So the game starts out this way. Obviously, we know it ends 1-0 to to Parma, but we start with a foul on Loftus Cheek in the box. There's no VAR look, no foul called on the field, and the guy ends up getting stretchered off. Steve, how is this possible? Nothing's called.
Again, talking about this on multiple occasions with multiple people, like, guys, we have to also take into account that the game is, it has some magnitude of an accident can happen. And I don't think that that was something malicious. And yes, we've seen PKs called for that, much less than that. So I'm understanding the frustration, but the same way when I talk about the handball rule, that I think it should be a bit streamlined. That there should be a little bit more of a black and a white to what they're gonna call, and leave out the gray, because there's a whole lot of gray. It's the same thing with a type of foul like this, right? It's not ill will. The goaler has every right to come out and punch out the ball, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek has every right to try to get ahead on the ball. So he's not punching. He's not punching him in the head. Their heads collide, and you see that once his head collides in the super slow motion, he's down for the count. Like, he's out. He's out. But I chalk it up as an accident. I don't think it should have been a foul on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I don't think it should have been a foul on the Parma keeper. It's just something that happens in a physical game like soccer, and I think we should move on. It's not even an excuse for Milan to be at that point. And guys, if we're begging for PKs like that, especially on plays like that, I don't want to be part of that. I understand the narrative around it, where Inter gets a lot of calls, favorable calls, and we seem to not get any calls. That's not the type of call that I want, because I think that's just a soccer play.
I hear you. I understand. So, I mean, let's turn our attention then to the game. And the game was, Minka, again, it wasn't a great game to start with. We do have these really bad slow starts, but we do start to pick up a little steam in the second part of the first half. And we have our only real exciting moment of the entire game from our end is we have this opportunity where the ball falls to Leao, who puts in a shot and just hits the bar in the wrong angle, that it shoots sideways and not towards the back of the net. And it really was our only good chance. But when you think about what this game had offensively, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, we were so piss poor today.
Again, I think you hit the hammer right on the nail. We just didn't start off well. And, it's been something that I
Been plaguing
personally,
us the whole year.
yeah, I've personally noticed the whole year. We just don't start games on the right foot.
No.
We kind of like lull our way into these games, and it's hard to break down, Fabio, because we've gotten the lead early, and then we break down in the second half and we drop points.
Yeah.
We hang around, or we don't take advantage of our chances, and we get scored on 1-0, and we have to come out. And guys, look at our record over the past 20 games. There's a couple of rabbits that we pulled out of the hat, where it would have been, we dropped 3 points, but we got away with a tie, and we chalked it up as, hey, let's win and let's run away. Well, this time we didn't take an opportunity of our chances. I think both Leao and Pulisic were not good this game. The midfield seemed like they had a lot of control of the game, except for that one goal chance that they had where they actually put it in the net, and we'll talk about that after. I think we missed a lot of chances, Fabio. I think we had Salamaker at the edge of the box taking a shot with his left, missing the net completely. We had Yashari when he comes on for Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the box in a little scramble, a very weak left-footed shot that rolls. This is the difference between Milan and Inter. Inter played, and we'll talk about it in the Fubu recap, played Lecce, a terrible game. Absolutely terrible. But they got 2 chances and they scored 2 goals and they got 3 points. No one's going to remember anything. For us, you see that Milan has even possession. And I think it's even worse for us when we have possession, because we can't catch them on a counter where we usually score a lot of our goals. But Parma is coming in this game knowing that they're going to give up possession. They don't even want the ball. They're like, come and break us down if you can. We're betting that you can't, and they bet and they won.
Yeah, we really can't break them down. And I thought not only was our forwards poor, but I felt their midfield was not that great. There was a lot of mistakes happening. Now, do I blame that on? I just have to say, you have to give them their flowers and you have to at least mention when things didn't look good. And I felt in this particular game, Rabiot was not good. He was very off. And then Modric, again, Modric does like the minimum of what you expect him to do. You know, sometimes it's like it's not fair to ask so much of him being his age, but he's constantly playing. You want him to find these passes, these outlet passes to get our forwards, to get our wing guys going. And I just felt like Rabiot didn't look good. Modric didn't look good. Ricci hasn't really done anything. And Salamakis has regressed. And then it gets us to the goal, which again, it's like Bartoszaghi's had a good season the whole time. It's way better performances than bad. You know what I mean? Ratio wise, he's clearly on the up and up. But every once in a while, he's kind of on the end of where we give up a goal, and there's no foul called on him. Some people say there shouldn't be. They initially don't give the goal because of goalie interference, but then VAR interferes. They look at it and they give him the goal and say, actually, Mignon wasn't obstructed at all. So, what were your thoughts on it? Because to me, it's like this is what VAR is doing. That like I expected different things from VAR. Now it's like as soon as they say they're going to go look at it and they didn't give the goal, you know they're overturning it. Otherwise, why would he go look at it? To me, I just feel like it probably should have been called on Bartoszaghi because the guy is literally like shoving Bartoszaghi to the ground to
He's
elevate
on his
himself.
fucking back, Fabio. He's on his back. We've gotten lesser fouls called on us. There's
You remember
one
with
on,
Loftus-Cheek? With the stupid two hands, he barely touched him, and they took the goal away from us, but they allowed this one.
so that's the frustrating part. It's again a reoccurring argument that we have on the show. I just don't think they're doing a good job with VAR. A lot of the referees are taking the heat for it, but it's like they're almost scared to make a call. Now he makes a call. He calls goaltender interference. He's made a judgment call. Is there 100% evidence to overturn his call? There's not. There's actually 127,000% because there's another incident that would have caused it to be a no goal.
And
Now
we've seen them do that. They go look for one thing, but then they said, "Oh, that did happen, but this happened, and this should disallow it." They didn't do that this time.
So they didn't do that this time, and there's a conversation that was put out on social media, and I hope it's fake. It's basically the VAR trying to find something and tell, yeah, but he's like, but I called the goalie interference. No, but he's not moving. Yeah, but he's not allowed to be there. He's not moving, so he can't touch him. If the goaler's moving, then there's incidental contact that could happen, obviously, because they're both allowed to go for the ball. But if the goaler's not moving, you cannot touch him. Now, forget about that, whether it's soft or not. You have someone doing fucking patty cake, let me jump on your shoulders bullshit. You understand? That's what I don't understand, because in the middle of the field, that's called 110% of the time, right? So what is the difference with that happening in the box at a pivotal moment of the game where Parma, whether we like it or not, and again, embarrassed to admit it, created absolutely nothing the rest of the game?
No, that was literally their only real opportunity, and they get it overturned to be a goal for them. And to me, I just think this is just again another ridiculous where the referee becomes the story of the game. Now, do I want to give you the impression that we should have ended the game 0-0? No, we had opportunities. We didn't make the best of it. But to lose to Parma this way, and they had really no fight for the rest of the 8 to 10 minutes that we have left, it was quite pathetic. And again, puts us back into perspective that this team is not of the caliber to be fighting for the title, unfortunately. Before we move on, let's do our favorite tops and flops. Do you dare give anybody a top in this game?
Honestly, no. I don't find
I
anyone was
agree.
really outstanding enough to say, hey, you did something. I can find something on almost everybody. You know, Estupinian was not good. Just blah. When you're just vanilla, you know,
Yeah.
Salamaker missed too many chances. You know, we talked about our midfield. We talked about, uh, Modric and Rabiot were like, a lot of mistakes that we usually don't see. And not only that, not only the mistakes, I could live with the mistakes. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. For me, what bothers me about Rabiot and Modric at times is that if they don't take the opportunity to strike a ball at goal when the opportunity presents itself, we become very predictable as we play the wing, or to Bartezagli or Stupinian on the left, or to Salchicha Maker and Tamori on the right, whoever's going to swing in across,
Yeah.
with two guys who can't get ahead on anything.
Or one of
Leao,
them is usually only in the box, and the other one
yeah,
is on the outskirts. So now you got
or
a potential 1 against 4.
worst case, or even worse than that, both make the same run. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, Fabio. I saw it 2 times. Now I don't know. I'm pretty sure Pulisic doesn't speak Portuguese. I'm pretty sure Leao speaks somewhat English, but I'm guaranteed they both speak some Italian. Could they fucking get on the same page if we're gonna play both of them? Because or else the mistake is actually starting both of them at the striker position. Because if you have to do that, in my opinion, and again, we're going away from top because there's no top, but you have to start this Estupinian. No, you don't. So if you want to put someone, you can put Pulisic on the left, or you can put Salchicha Maker on the left and Pulisic on the right. You can keep, you know, Modric, Rabiot, and we had Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You want to insert Yashari, do whatever you want. But you don't have to start the Stupinian. It doesn't mean that because Bartezaghi cannot play left wing back, you have to play Estupinian. And then when you're up front, well, then you can inject someone who's making a different run, especially when you're going to be whipping in crosses. If you have to start full Krug for 60 minutes against Parma, I don't think that's going to be the game breaker. I really don't. And I bet you that full Krug and Leao will not make the same run.
I think it's just whatever's going on with Pulisic still with this injury and playing him with Leao. This is just not the right formation for him. So in regards to my flop, I unfortunately have to give it to Pulisic because again, he's just not performing. He has a couple of chances that he could have done better, but he has one moment where he shoots right at the keeper. Again, then he gets substituted early. So it's just not something's going on with him. It's still not. Who's your flop of the game? Do you have a flop? You giving everybody a flop? Is there one particular person more than the other?
Look, not to double dip on Pulisic, but I think I have to give Rabiot the I
Yeah.
would have thought that after the red card, which was a stupid red card, you're coming back to this game against Parma at home. I would have expected more, right? And we talked about Modric and Rabiot taking their opportunities, right? When we start for someone like Fofana and gets in those positions to shoot, we cringe because we don't want him to shoot, right?
No.
No, but if I have Modric and Rabiot in a position to shoot, I would like them to shoot maybe 45% of the time, and the other percentage, with my math not mathing, provide an assist or something like that. But when he doesn't do that and he tries to come back so deep to gather the ball to either help Modric or be involved in the build-up play and doesn't become dangerous in the final third, it's almost like we're playing with a man less. and it's so noticeable. He's so important when he's on his game,
Yeah.
and he's so, I'm not going to say poor, but when he's off, it really shows. It's almost like it's better that he's not there.
Well, you know what? The one thing about Rabiot that makes me laugh is that you would have swore he was going to take a yellow this game.
Yeah,
So he does not have an opportunity of missing the derby. But now for Cremonese, he needs to be on his best behavior. I would even venture in
he's getting a
don't
card guaranteed. We
I
heard it
wouldn't even
here.
play him. I wouldn't even play him.
At this point, Fabio, unfortunately, we have no choice. We
I
have
say
to.
45 minutes. Don't you dare make a reckless tackle.
We have, again. Let's sum this up, right? It's deflating to see us 10 points back. It's also deflating to see the rest of the league that's not even close. We're 10 points back. I think Naples is 14 points back.
Yeah.
Inter's the best team in this league, but they're not that good.
No.
What Inter's doing better than everybody else is Inter is winning the games where they play fantastic and winning the games when they don't play well, aka the Juventus game, right?
Exactly. They
So
find a result when
they
they
find the
can't.
result, and that's the difference. That's the 10-point gap that you're seeing here.
Yeah.
We can go on social media and see what we did against Pisa, what we did, and hopefully it doesn't repeat itself against Cremonese. But newsflash to everybody listening out there who's going to listen, if you haven't listened already, I'm making the trek to the motherland for the Derby della Madonnina. If mathematics does come into play, and that's worth something, then a derby is always a derby, but it's going to be great to get back into this because whether we like it or not, yes, we're 10 points back, but mathematically, this is not over. Like, this is what I don't understand with people. Like, we've seen worse collapses, right? Things could happen. Things could happen, Fabio. Bodo Glit today. Bodo Glit beat Inter at home at San Siro again. In a 2-match head-to-head, no goal, no aggregate goal in terms of away goals, just head-on to them. If I would have told you the aggregate would have finished 5-2, Inter Bodo Glit, you would have said, oh, Inter, and I would have said, guess who won this game? Almost 100% of the people would have said it was Inter, but it's Bodo Glit. And again, no disrespect to the Norwegians, but that's Italy's best team. And they're getting blown out in the Champions League 5-2.
Yeah, and
there's a crack in the armor, Fabio. The people have to understand there's a crack in the armor.
Yes, there is. But that is also, the crack is, we're going to get to it a little later in regards to what I mean by it. But the crack is facing outward, not inward, if that makes any sense, if you know what I mean. Because they're cracking on the European stage. But at home, domestically, boy, every time, no matter what town or city they go into, they eat good against the lower teams. While we, Minkia, we have fun, and man, we are so hungry against these teams. We can't get nothing because they do what they know Milan cannot do. They sit back, they park the bus, and they dare us to break us down, to break them down. And we never can. We never can. We get lucky with a little bit of brilliance for either from a Pulisic earlier in the season or Leao randomly during the season. But the team is hitting a major lull. And we're going to talk about this a little more later. But remember, it's February 24th as we are taping right now. February 24th. And most people, me included, feel like our season is winding to an end already. And we still have 3 full months to go. That is an embarrassment of epic proportions, and it's because of Serie A. And here's the perfect lead. All right, this segment is brought to you by Fubo Canada TV, the home of Serie A and the Premier League and whatever else Fubo has. You can check them out. You can even watch it, listen to it in Italian. Steve, let's start with the first game here that happened on Friday. It was Sassuolo putting a hurting on Verona. I mean, A double by Berardi? Where are we? What year is it, Steve? 3-0. Impressive. You see Sassuolo's hitting their groove. Their Serie A status is firmly seems to be planted in Serie A.
Nice to have Sassuolo back. Again, nice to see Mimo Berardi back on the score sheet. Traditional PK for him and another goal out an open play. I like Sassuolo. I think they belong in Serie A. They're a team and a club with a project. So it's nice when they come up from Serie B.
That's what makes it so interesting that they were able to drop and immediately turn themselves around, come right back up, because they are usually a pretty good club, so they deserve to stay in Serie A. Let's go to another club that is fluctuating. I don't know, week in, week out. You know what you're getting from this club. Spalletti's Juventus. Some people thought he was getting them on the right track, but Como, the little engine that could, I guess if you got like $100-200 million budget, you're not much of a little engine anymore. But Cesc Fabregas goes into Torino and gets a 2-0 victory for Como. Any thoughts on Como just beating Juve? Juve did not look good either here.
No, and this is another example of just coaches being so full of themselves and not going away from their tactics. Como likes to hold the ball. We've seen, both games versus Milan like to hold the ball. Allegri sticks to his guns and he wants to play a defensive style and catch them on the counter. Juventus, unfortunately, with Bremer not there, defensively they struggle, right? And Juventus needed to absorb this pressure somehow and try to catch them on the counter, but I think Juventus's midfield is absolutely terrible. I think the starting strikers absolutely have no idea how to find goals anymore. Without Yildiz
so
there,
sad. It's
they
so
they,
sad.
they
They
seem
really are.
completely lost. Ospina and Jonathan David just completely lost. And guys, I know I've been harsh on Como, but Como's second goal for me, soccer purist, Como's second goal is goal of the season. In 3 touches, they're from their 6-yard box to the back of the net at Juve. Go watch that fantastic soccer.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I have to watch the next game. Lecce hosting Inter, and Inter in the final 15 minutes of the game get on the score sheet and bury the game. And just like you had to wait a little bit, Liban Youssef, Inter had to wait for their 2 goals. And they get another 3 points, valuable to them to go up 10 points on us. I mean, Mkhitaryan gets the first goal, and then Akanji gets the second goal to bury the game away. Thoughts on Inter just rolling? See, Lecce, small team, no issues, dominate even in the last 15
just
minutes.
so frustrating to watch because it was a terrible game, and you just sort of said, you know what, they're gonna score. They're gonna score. So it's just it's something that you shake your head, like we said, and unfortunately, you have to watch it and you have to say, well, they take the 3 points and they run, and later on in the afternoon, we see what Milan does, and it just puts a cherry on your Sunday, especially when it's your birthday.
Next game, no goals, Lazio and Cagliari. Yeah, just another.
Lazio has some serious psychological problems. I'm sorry, this is unwatchable in terms of what they're doing. Milan doesn't play the greatest style of football, but
No.
I like it. I like it in terms of like I'm a fan of defensive football. I'm a fan of of that art, that chess match when it's played well. But Lazio has no idea. Lazio against the Cagliari, that they put up a fight, but it's just boring, completely boring. There's no chances.
Next game, major goals for if you were a Genoa fan. Genoa hosting Torino. Torino is in big trouble. And all goals came in the second half. One, which was from Messias, baby, Junior getting on the score sheet. So Torino just free falling. Very sad. We're going to just move on because there's really nothing else to say about them. They better get themselves on track. Then here's the big one. This was a big game, all right? Atalanta hosting Napoli. 2-1 thanks to a winner by some Samodardic. I can never pronounce this guy's name. You're saying you know how to pronounce.
Samardich.
Yeah, him too. And I mean, again, this is not good for Napoli. You see that they are a one time a week team now, and Conte just got has these guys gassed. They're gassed, and Atalanta with Palladino's is looking good. Steve, your thoughts on this one?
So this is typical Naples. We said it. It would happen. Uh, the longevity of Conte at a club is very telenovela style after year one, right?
The warranty doesn't last past the
Yeah.
second year.
After year one and year two, everybody starts to kind of like turn on what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Everybody now is magically remembering that he's a Juventino and that he's coaching in Naples, blah 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 blah. Margarita pizza here, margarita pizza there. You're losing here. You're out of the Champions League. Everybody's getting hurt because you're overworking everyone. You can't adapt to the new style of soccer and the players, and you're going to finish this season third or fourth, then get fired, then complain in the off season, and then go to another club and rinse and repeat. So the Napoli fans, whether you guys, you're watching Gamora or you're watching Umar Fior, it's always the same story, guys. It's always the same story. And again, credit to Atalanta because they played a good game. They took their chances and they ended up beating Napoli. Now back to going back to Juventus and Atalanta, they have some key matchups tomorrow as well. So
Big matchups. We're going to talk about that in a second. Next game, obviously Milan Parma. We lose 1-0 to them. Roma putting cream of knees, Cremonese out. Like, boxing is the topic tonight. Definitely knocked out all three of their front teeth. I mean, Roma rolling here. Cremonese, they are free falling here. We're going to look at the table in a second, but they are not going in the right direction, my man.
yeah, which worries me for Milan Cremonese, to be very honest, Cremonese Milan, because they let in 3 goals to Roma. Again, good on Roma taking their chances. Roma's another team has done fantastic against everybody that's underneath them. Everybody that's higher than them, they've struggled. Uh, but that's what keeps you in fourth place, right?
Yeah.
You can't win the Scudetto like that, but you can compete, right? And you can be in the top four. But taking care of Cremonese for them 3-0 at home, I think that's a just result from the game that I watched.
Fiorentina getting a valuable 3 points, a goal early from Keane gives them the win over Pisa. While Bologna, well, we got a Bernardeschi penalty converted that gets Bologna a 1-0 lead. Both teams here.
Hi guys, my name is Bernardeschi. I scored the pique. You like, Fabio? You like?
Well, Bologna, because they needed the 3 points. They were kind of slipping and sliding here or there. Fiorentina obviously needed the 3 points. So let's get to the table to show kind of where we are here. Obviously, Inter is at the top with 64 points. We are the second team at 54. Roma, 4 points behind us. And Napoli, Roma tied in third and fourth there with 50 points. Juve, fifth, 4 points behind them. So that's a nice 8 points from the gap from Juve. Como not to be slept on, only 1 point behind Juve, 5 points behind the Champions League spot. Atalanta tied with them there in seventh. Bologna, and that's where the gap is. You get to Bologna, it's 36. They're already 9 points behind them. The bottom three, Fiorentina has risen themselves out, even though they are technically still tied with Lecce, but Pisa, Verona holding down the 2 bottom spots. Thoughts on the table, Steve?
Uh, Good to see Fiorentina out of the bottom. I think those 3 teams, like we discussed with Vinny a couple of weeks ago, will finish in the top three, the bottom 3. Cremonese Lecce is a little bit of a flip flopper situation. Up until the past couple of weeks, Cremonese was on the column to the left of that relegation zone, which was really surprising. and now they find themselves, tied for the last spot in the relegation with Fiorentina and Lecce. Uh, the comeback is Atalanta. Like, they were struggling for quite a bit of time,
Yeah.
and now they're tied in sixth, 1 point behind Juventus for fifth. And if Naples continue to struggle, guys, this is the top four will be a race. The Inter at the top with 64. I keep on saying it, guys. Mathematically, it's not over. It's not over. I'm not Vinny's the glass half full guy, but for me, it's all about calculation. Now we started Champions League. They're out of Champions League. That's great. They're gonna play 2 times a week with Coppa Italia, but Lautaro's injured. Don't know if he's gonna be back for the derby, which really sucks, to be very honest, Joe. But hey, what do you want to do? Everybody's going through injuries. There's gonna be a lot of heat because of this Champions League exit. Like, I think people are downplaying it, but I think in the Inter camp there's going to be a lot of heat because last year they made it to the final, and this year they changed coach, and this year now they're not in the final anymore. 10 points is huge. I'm not going to disagree that it's not huge, but I right now, as much as it hurts to see it that way, I think a couple of results changes it, and then if it gets tighter, like if 10 becomes 6 after 2 weeks, you start kind of like double doubting yourself, right? So I'm interested to see what the next couple of months has in store for us. And again, for Milan, it's to continue to get out of this funk. That's number one, right? So they need to get out of this funk because Roma is sitting at 50, and so is Naples, and I don't think they've been better than us to take second place.
No, and we're gonna talk about the future ahead, but that's the way the table stands. Inter a 10-point lead. We got Lecce, Pisa, and Verona, and that has been football. All right, so that has been Fubu TV Canada, the home of Serie A, where you can watch and listen to everything, even in Italian. Fubu TV Canada. All right, so let's move on. We've been kind of going around, so we're gonna jump to this topic next. So I wrote that, to me, top four seems to have been our objective the whole time, which, you know how much I love that. And being 10 points behind Inter, and like I mentioned earlier, on February 24th, this is a major disappointment to me. And not only is it a disappointment to me as a Milan fan and seeing our situation, but I think in the whole, this is one of those seasons it's shaping up to be one of the seasons that I look at these other leagues and I find it extremely upsetting to see a Bundesliga league, which, again, here comes Bayern Munich for the fucking you know 10th time this decade.
How many stars do they have actually on there? Like,
No, maybe they just have it all around the badge at this point. And then you see, again, not every league is like this year, but this perpetual winner, a team so far ahead, the other teams, even close to the top four, are not really fighting. Beppe said this in our episode that we did of the Empire State of Milan. This feels like the Juve years when they won 9 in a row. That really, even the second place team is nowhere near catching. And Inter, like you mentioned, is not that great this season. They're not. They've just been dominant and damn right professional domestically. But you see what they did in Italy, in Europe. You see what Juve potentially is going to do. You see Atalanta, once foot out. Napoli, our defending champion, couldn't even get into the knockout stage. So this, it's an overall, just shows how, I would say, how poor Italy has been, just football-wise. And Inter, despite them being the best in the league, they got beat up by Bodo Glint. What Bodo Glint, and thank God to Johns Peter Hogg, whatever his name is, for doing it and showing up. And Glint really gave them a hard time these two games. And it shouldn't have been a surprise because they did what they were supposed to do against the teams that they played just a few weeks ago before they got to the knockout round. But overall, I see all this stuff. And to me, I say top four is your objective. Top four, just making the Champions League to have what? Performances like this? This is a major disappointment because I know you say, yes, mathematically we're not out, but 10 points is 3 losses. I don't see anybody even mustering up an opportunity to make Inter lose. Even when Juve plays better the whole time, they still find a way to get the result in there. So to me, I'm super disappointed. What are your thoughts of what I've just said in regards to how we look in Europe, the league overall? And I know you've mentioned mathematically we're not out, but I feel like the season's over and it's fucking February. Your birthday killed the whole damn season for me.
Yeah. My birthday did kill the season in terms of that, and I agree. But I would take it a step further. And Vinny Mancini put it inside there. And again, for everybody that's been listening to me ramble for 5 years, this is unfortunately part of a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is after tomorrow, we can potentially have no teams left in the Champions League. So never mind top 4 being an objective. If things continue like this, top 3 might have to be an objective because 4 won't be a spot that belongs to us because they continue to count on coefficiency, right? And the other leagues just keep on either, extending a league, extending the lead on those coefficiency points to get more spots or other spots that maybe we may or may not deserve. But Italy, in a nutshell, just it's problem after problem, right? There's never a good story that comes out of Serie A. The newspapers don't do themselves any favors for the league or for the other teams. The marketing of Serie A, either in North America or in Italy, is great for what they do. They have a fantastic pregame show. In the States, you have CBS. Yes, cool, but nothing in terms of the production that you see, on Sky if you're watching on a European channel. It just don't make Serie A sexy anymore for people to get attracted to it and actually follow it, right? So for me, it's important that I continue to do Milan Weekly Podcast and I continue to talk about Milan because I am really scared that when I get older, my son might not really care about Milan. And that bothers me. That bothers me a lot. And it's from the grassroots level, and they kept on talking about the Napoli kid that came in, he had to come in because Nervis got hurt, and they magically found a diamond in the rough. No, he's been sitting there for 23 fucking years, guys. You're just too scared to play him. And that's the thing that's scary. That's the disappointing part. In terms of Serie A, that's my take. And again, whoever wants to send this to Serie A, I have no problem saying it to their face as well. I've been saying it for 5 to 10 years. On the Milan side, for me, it's not even disappointment. For me, it's utter frustration. It's utter frustration because I've said it a million times. The ownership at a certain point needs to shut up, needs to muzzle Zlatan. I don't care who he brings to the sideline. I don't care that it's Tom Brady.
What about Megan Thee Stallion?
Meg the Stallion, Meg the fucking horse, Meg the everything. I don't know, Meg the person, Megalodon. I don't care who he brings to the side. I don't care about that Hollywood stuff because Meg doesn't care about a second star. Tom Brady has 5 fucking rings, if not more.
He is 6.
He has 6. So, but for us, the guys who do this and the guys that are in the chat, for us, that second star means a lot. And I've continuously said it over and over. Someone needs to get in the ear of... 7. Someone needs to get in the ear of this ownership and say, hey, guys, this second star might have the power to get us away from this golden balance sheet for about a year and a half, 2 years, spend, get people in the right places, get the players that we need, and make sure that we get that second star. Because a team like Milan sitting at 19 championships for so long with seven, I don't know, just in case Figo doesn't hear, 7 Champions Leagues, which he will never see ever in his life, it is a travesty, right? Because we are the best team. I'm convinced. In historically, they can say Juventini. They can say we're the best. We have 37,000 fucking Scudettos or however they fuck they count. Because Juve, we know math doesn't math, right? And the Inter guys will come in and 21 Scudetto. They have 4 on a piece of paper. Remember that? Because if you do 21, if you gotta do math, you got to do math the proper way when it counts for everybody. Because if you do 21 and you minus 4 on paper, you're not at 21 anymore. Just saying. Anyways. But Milan have 19 and have 7. We have 19 and we have 7. No one could say we can't count. We're counting properly.
Yeah.
So Milan for me,
have 19 because 2 of them were given to him, I believe.
Anyways, I like better when I said 4. It makes better. It makes better math.
Whoa, but Anthony coming through here. We're gonna give him some wholesale changes in the entire Italian football system needs to be made. But my concern is that they are willing to change. They aren't too willing, or they are willing to change if the jury doesn't qualify for the World Cup again. That's really the question. It seems to be like something in the middle, right? To hope for a real change is almost like wishing for them to miss a 3rd consecutive World Cup. And that is unacceptable.
Complete. That is complete. After tomorrow, if there's no Italian teams in the Champions League going into round 8, whatever round we're in Champions League, and we get into March, and for some reason, beyond my understanding of this Italy superpower that we are in terms of soccer, because whether we like it or not, there are other countries don't like about it, is Italy is a superpower with 4 World Cups in terms of soccer. If we don't make the World Cup, it is complete Armageddon. It's World War Z. World War Z 2 is coming out. Well, we have World War 1.5, World War Z 1.5. Because after that, Fabio, if that were to happen, and I knock on wood because I really want to see Italy in the World Cup, if that happens, and whoever is administering anything to do with FIGC or soccer or Serie A doesn't get removed from their position and replaced by an entity or a group of people that are willing to do the right thing, whatever the plan will be. Because we've talked about this on the Milan side, we have to talk about it on the Italy side. There needs to be a project. People need to buy into a project. Right now, Italy looks like they're just throwing shit at the wall and they're hoping that it sticks. And if you're not willing to do that, guys, we are in deep, deep trouble. Financially, Serie A, financially, the Azzurri brand, because we'll get to a point where people are not going to be scared of the jersey anymore. And that's when you start to struggle.
Well, let's move on because there's another rumor now popping up that it's getting everybody's attention here. And let me read this. This is a report coming from, can't even begin to say who it is. Who is it, Steve? I can barely see it.
It doesn't matter who it is. It's going to be the newspaper of the reporting out.
Well, they're saying this is the lowest point in the relation between Allegri and the club. The coach is reportedly considering whether to stay next year. Okay,
But why now? Why now? The
why?
transfer
Why?
window's
Because we
open.
look like shit now. That's
Yeah,
why.
but the thing is that's why the article doesn't make sense. It's not like he asked for anybody and we couldn't get. We don't know, right? So this is someone who just decided to wake up one morning, Milan loses to Parma. How can I throw gasoline on the fire? This for me is not reporting, right? So, we talk about it, right, Fabio? And this is the frustrating part. We do Milan Weekly podcast. We do the Empire State of Mind. We do Coast to Coast. The Martino and Matt do their stuff. Well, we have, great people who do TikTok and everything. Like good people who try to stay real relevant about the things that they talk about and struggle to get any type of impression or any type of a chance to build that platform. For a guy like me at 45 years old, guys, I'm telling you, it's not for me to build a platform. I don't think that I'm gonna wake up one day and there's gonna be 2 million views on something that I said. Realistically, it's not gonna happen. Firstly, I'm too good looking for that, and secondly, it's just we're attracted to stupidity like this. The world right now would rather see this stupidity than listen to two guys talk real truly about culture, right? And then you have these journalists who throw around like they have passes to games, they have accesses that we would never dream of. For me, the system in terms of information sharing, especially on social media, guys, is broken. It's absolutely broken. The things that I see people hear and I hear people talk about and what they're watching and what gets views and what doesn't is boggles my mind. And it's great that you guys brought this up because the timing of this article doesn't even make sense. Besides the point of throwing gasoline on the fire after Milan loses. I bet you Milan wins 2-0 against Parma. This doesn't come out.
No, I think that's what makes it, interesting that it's always when we lose these type of stories start to appear, we're going into a little bit of a lull. Now all of a sudden Allegri's future doesn't know. I mean, Allegri's done as well as anybody could be expected with what he's
It's a
been
fucking
given.
modern day miracle with the type of players that he has and what we thought what was gonna happen at the beginning of the year. Okay, besides the 10-point gap, if you tell me February end of February, beginning of March, Milan sits in second place, I would have signed at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I would
I
have.
would have signed.
I mean, again,
Not again, the
not this
minus
way.
10, the minus 10 puts a very different spin on what I just said. Absolutely. But just no spread, okay? If someone would ask you at the beginning of the year, Fabio, I'm going to fast forward you to March and I'm going to tell you Milan is sitting in second place behind Inter. Would you have signed that?
Everything's all right until you say behind Inter.
Well, I'm just saying the way that
I know. Again, it's always like you got to keep, you got to keep your expectations to what they were last season, right? We were in 8th place, now we're in 2nd. That seems like a good turnaround, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not what a Milanista should be expecting. You expect to fight until the last week
well,
for the
but
title. That's what I demand.
but if I tell you we're at the beginning of March, and you're in second, for me, I'm fighting to I'm fighting to the end of the season. I
Yeah.
have a chance. I have a chance at second, right? So
Again, yes, all things considered, I don't think Allegri's spot is even remotely in danger. I don't think there is bad blood. I think this is just, like everybody mentioned, it's just a
telenovela.
fake story, telenovela, needing to get out to sell newspapers or get clicks. And Allegri is fine. He's doing the best he can. One of the best players is a player that he wanted here, so we should probably listen to him. But I would like to see more from Allegri. This hasn't been a good watch in regards to the games themselves. It's been a tough watch. Unless you prefer the Scortomuso type of game where we get one goal and we sit back and the entire game is like this. I don't know. It's tough. But I guess in the end, we have to see how the season pans out. But if they tell me or more stories come out and saying Furlani and these guys are not on the same page and maybe they want to go in a different direction, we'll
But
see what happens. But right now, I
correct
think
me
this
if
is
I'm
just
wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Furlani, Allegri, not on the same page.
Tade too. Yeah.
Furlani, Tade, Zlatan, Shkaramotza, the other guy, Roberto, the equipment manager, not on the same page. Guys, at a certain point, wasn't Cardinale buying out his loan and, Elliot was going to be leaving this equation? If Elliot leaves the equation, so does Furlani. So now we're on the same page with who? We talked about the tennis guy. My hope is the tennis guy comes in and stays on the financial side, and I don't have to even remember his name because they've entrusted Tade. Let's go with Tade. You listen to Max Allegri. He's the people that he wanted in terms of bringing in Rabiot was not my favorite idea, but in reality, it's looking like the signing for us of the season. He looks like someone who's missing. The Modric signing as well. Same thing.
Yeah.
Very important. Can we build on that with a little bit of stability? It's too easy. If he finishes second, disappointment to us, absolutely. But in the greater scale of things, not bad, right? When you gotta help him build now. Now it's not an excuse. You finish second, you're playing Champions League, you're gonna get a little bit of money. You need to strengthen this squad. If the new ownership is still penny pinching, then again we're just it's the definition of insanity. We're gonna try to do the exact same thing, and what's gonna happen? We're going to be known as Arsenal. I don't want to fucking be known as Arsenal. No one, not even Arsenal fans, want to be known as Arsenal because they're gonna botch another Premier League championship this year.
Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion, but it's hard to be happy finishing second when Inter is being first. But let's give some love here. I thought it said Oscar, but it's OSCVRFC. Appreciate the super chat. Let's stop believing shit sources to begin with. Every time we lose a game or go on a tough run of form, reports like this always come out nonsense. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you so much, Oshkenvers. Oshkenvers. I'm gonna baptize you, Oshkenvers.
Well, I really hope it's not true. I know Allegri's not everybody's favorite. He's not even necessarily my favorite, and this style of play is very tough to watch. But he's been able to turn us around. So let's get to our next game. As you can see in the overlay right below us, Cremonese, the rematch of match day 1. We travel to them. Steve, they haven't been in a good run of form. I wish I could look it up, but what are your thoughts on this game? I'll look up to see how awful Cremonese has been.
So I would hope that it would be the opposite of what usually happens, right? So again, Milan stumbling into these games with the lower level teams and dropping points. But it seems like Milan's on a lull as well, and so is Cremonese. For me, I think Milan regroups, Allegri back on the bench, and I think we handle business against Cremonese away.
Cremonese has not won a game since December 7th. All right. They have been demolished by most teams that are in the top 6. So this would be a real embarrassment if Milan cannot handle their business. Obviously, let's look here on who's available. I believe everybody's available. Nobody, again, Rabiot's the only one that you really have to worry about in regards to getting himself a yellow and missing the derby. But all in all, everybody's healthy with the exception of Jimenez, Who are you going with your starting 11, Steve?
I would switch it up, Fab. I would honestly switch it up, and I think we've been talking about this a lot lately, depending on Captain America's fitness. I would put him back where he succeeded a lot last year, and a little bit this year. Maybe right wing. On the left wing, if Bartezagli has to take someone's place in the back three, then I would play Salchicha Maker on the left. In the middle, guys, there's Rabiot, there's Modric that need to play, and
Jashari
again,
is going to be in there.
Jashari as well.
Ricci.
Yeah, you need to be smart with Rabiot, right? Like we need him for the derby, absolutely. So if it's time to put someone in, I think maybe we try Yashari again from the start, which has not been successful when he started games. The results have not been, but maybe Ricci with Modric in the middle, and then up front. Honestly, I would start Leao, absolutely.
Go
And then
Fulkrug.
I would try Fulkrug, and I would play Fulkrug as a higher nine, and Leao would, just be able to roam free underneath him, and play off Fulkrug. Fulkrug is the type of striker, I'm gonna say, similar to what Giroud does. Hold up play, try to create at the edge of the box, gets to the end of headers. Like, he offers a lot, especially against a team like Cremonese, who will possibly park the bus again because they haven't won since December. So we're gonna need to break them down. So it's not that we're putting Fulkrug in there and we're going to whip in 150 crosses a game. Absolutely not. But like we talked about before, putting Fulkrug in there, at least when we do have the option to put in a cross, and people are making intelligent runs to the first post, to the back post, and to the middle where the garbage is, because sometimes we forget to take out the garbage and we get a scrapper from there. It opens up a lot in the final third where I think that they can do much more than what's happening now.
We need the 3 points. No excuses. All right, guys, we're into our extra time. Time for our final thoughts, Steve. Go ahead. What's your final thoughts?
Look, my final thoughts is exactly that. When Allegri first took on over Milan and won a Scudetto with them, and then unfortunately, ownership had different plans than what we were expecting at that time, where they were trying, they were selling off some players who were kind of going away from the glitz and glamour champagne football of soccer. Again, no one was Allegri's biggest fan, right? Because even with the team that he had there, he wasn't 100% in that defensive minded football. But I think, like, now his second time around, he understands what needs to be done. I think we need to give him that confidence. Is it beautiful football? Absolutely not. You have to really be one of those soccer purists to really appreciate what's happening and what he's doing with the players that he has. And it's not results based. I'm talking really like how he has these guys moving, what he wants them to do once they get the ball, how fast they do it, how fast they actually complete and start a counter, and what happens at the end. But at a certain point, even he needs to mold this, and that's what I wanted to say just before with the Cremonese game. Now you need to force that memory muscle of, oh, I'm gonna stick with this formation, I'm gonna stick with this game plan, because it's gonna start to work again. We're at a point where we cannot hope that it starts to work again. We need to try something else, if of course those players are healthy and can play, because like I said before, Captain America, we need to see his health, because if he's playing on the right wing the way and running the way he was running this past weekend, we have a big problem.
Guys, my final thoughts. First and foremost, have to give some love to our 2 super chats tonight. Anthony, thank you so much for your super chat. Always one of the best listeners and constantly here supporting the channel. We appreciate you.
Grazie, Anthony. Grande. And Oscar Force.
Yeah, and OSC VRFC Oscar, could it be? I'm not sure, but we appreciate you with the super chat. You guys are gentlemen and scholars. Thank you guys so much for being here. Everybody in the chat, we always appreciate you. All right, so what's he said? When the players are on form and everything is flowing well, Allegri ball can actually be attractive to watch. But when Pulley and Leao are always out, what can you do? Great point by a great man. Great point. Guys, everybody in the chat who chimed in tonight, who've been here watching, whether you're a Milan fan or not, because I know there are some people hate watching out there, like we did hate watching today, Steve. We appreciate everybody taking their time. My last thing I want to say, this particular time of the year, if we keep not closing the gap, it turns into just get a chance to go out there, find your local Milan club if you have one. If you haven't and you want to start one, it's a great thing to do. If you are in the greater New York area for the Derby, Milan Club New York will be getting together. I am a member there. And also, if you haven't already, we've mentioned it earlier, Empire State of Milan, myself and Beppe, 2 members of Milan Club NYC. We have our own show. It will be coming to MWP soon enough. But check out what we did live at the bar. And it's on our Instagram. It's on our YouTube. Please give us a follow there. For me and Stevie, and also Vinny T and everybody else out there, ovunque e sempre.
Forza Milan!
Peace out, everybody. Good night. See you next week.